Chemistry paper 1, multiple choice 2021 GCE. Yeah, so let's roll. A balloon filled with hydrogen chloride gas was placed in a beaker containing hydrogen gas as shown below. What would be observed after several minutes? The balloon does not change size. It's containing the air. I was almost thinking that we're going to talk about is it going to sink or float, but the answer which makes sense is C. Does not change size. So you're observing and you realize nothing will happen to the volume of the balloon. Which of the following is a chemical change? My answer there is D. Rusting is a chemical change. Number 3, in a titration experiment, P is the titrant and Q is the analyte. Which of the precautions below is not correct? Rinsing the conical flask with P. The analyte is the one that is usually in the conical flask. Then the titrant is in the burette. So the answer there is A. Because you cannot use what is in the burette to rinse the conical where you're going to put Q again. You contaminate it. Okay, so the answer is A. Number 4, the structure of sand is classified as a macromolecule, silicon 4 oxide. Which is the total number of atoms? What is the total number of atoms in that hydrated copper 2 sulfate molecule or formula unit? 21 is the answer, 21. Neutral atoms can be positive ions by losing electrons. Answer is C. 27. The following are terms used to describe the total number of particles in a nucleus of an atom, except for the answer there is C. Neutron number. Okay, neutron number. Number 8, iron can be extracted from its ore, which is iron 3 oxide, hematite, magnetite, as shown in the equation below. That's hematite. What mass of iron is produced from 500 kgs of ore? You have to use ratios, okay? So I had to find in a balanced equation, this much ore produces that much iron, okay? So iron has a mass of 56 on the periodic table, and the formula mass for this is 160. So 160 produces 112, as in the balanced equation, because this is times 56 times 2. Then 500 will produce X. Okay. My answer is 360. My answer is 360 kilograms. C. Number 9. Ethene burns in excess oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water vapor. What volume of ethene is needed to produce 125 cubic centimeters of carbon dioxide at RTP? So this is ethene, that is carbon dioxide. 1 mole of ethene produces 2 moles of ethene. This is 1 liter of ethene produces, not 1 liter, sorry. At RTP, that is 24 liters of ethene produces 48 liters of carbon dioxide at RTP. So I use that relation. 24 decimeters, which is the same as 24 liters, yields 48 liters. Okay, so when I do that ratio thing, cross multiply, my X here represents 62.5 cubic centimeters, which is A will be my answer. Okay, so you get your ratios, your fixed ratios from the balanced equation. Then you compare your expected ratios under perfect conditions. The answer, the volume will be 62.5. Okay, so an acid oxide has a formula of XO3. What is the most likely formula of acid? What is the most likely formula of the acid formed when this oxide dissolves in water? So our acidic oxide is this. I'll just compare this to sulfur trioxide. Okay, so my answer comes out as A. That would be your formula of the acid formed when the oxide dissolves in water. A compound is made of 36.5% sodium, 38.1 oxygen, 25.4 sulfur. What is the empirical formula of the compound? Get your percentages like here, divide them there by the molar masses to simply have these values here. Then out of the values that you get, divide all of them by the smallest. Our smallest is this one here. So you divide with the smallest, then get your fractions, then round off your fractions to whole numbers. This will be 2, this will be 3, that will be 1. Therefore, the answer is B, sodium sulfite. Okay, remember, empirical formula is the simplest whole number formula of a given compound. Okay, the simplest whole number atomic ratio. Okay, what am I saying? An empirical formula is a simplest whole number atomic ratio formula of a given compound. Okay, yeah, I think I've said it right. So number 12, calcium reacts with water according to the equation below. What is the number of hydrogen molecules that can be obtained in 1 gram of calcium? Okay, of calcium obtained when 1 gram of calcium reacts with water. My answer was D. How did I find D? I had to look at the ratios here and look at 1 mole. 1 mole produces 1 mole. So if when I had to calculate for the quantity of hydrogen that will be produced. If mass of calcium 40, which is 1 mole there, produces 2 grams of hydrogen, then 1 gram will produce X grams of hydrogen. Therefore, my X comes out as 0.05 grams of hydrogen. Then I convert these grams to moles, which gives me 0.025 moles of hydrogen. Then convert these moles to particles, which gives me this answer here, 1.56. But here it's just 1.5. They didn't round it up. My answer comes out as D. The following diagram shows the electrolysis of copper to sulfate solution using copper electrodes. Copper to sulfate, copper electrodes, meaning the electrodes are active. Okay, which one of the following statements is not correct? The hydroxide ions react at the anode. There are no hydroxide ions here. Quite right, yes, they would react at the anode because the anode is positive, but they're not here. There's just sulfate ions here. So incorrect, not correct. The answer is C. Which of the following graphs represents Faraday's law of electrolysis? The answer is D. The mass of the discharged element is directly proportional to the current that has been passed through a given electrolyte. The answer is D. Number 5 or 15, if 96500 produces 0.5 moles of metal, what is the charge on the ion of the metal? The charge is going to be +2. Remember, this is a Faraday's constant, which is the amount of charge that is required to transfer. Hey, who are you? Wait, there's an ant there, a bug. Okay, let's leave him alone. He could be a scientist enjoying chemistry here. So the answer is A. This is the charge required to transfer 1 mole of electrons. So if it discharges half moles of electrons, it means that 1 mole has been shared by atoms having a charge of +2. So Faraday's constant, this is for 1 mole. Then if you're having a half, you do your math there, you'll find that the answer is B. 16, in a concentrated solution of hydrochloric acid, an electrolyte, how many different ions are there? Okay, different ions are there. So 2, but I've said concentrated. So you are going to have chloride and hydrogen ions. 17, if which of the following statements describes an endothermic reaction? My answer is D. Reactants have less energy than the products. Yes, endothermic. You have to force them to react. 18 is an example of an endothermic process, photosynthesis. The answer is C. Number 19, hydrogen gas reacts with oxygen to form steam according to the equation below. That's our equation. 2 plus O gives you 2 H2O. Using the bond energies given in the table above, the enthalpy change of the reaction is, my answer was -486. Okay, exothermic because it's negative. If it's positive, then it's endothermic. Therefore, bonds broken minus bonds made. I just didn't have space to write the whole thing, but bonds broken minus bonds made. If you're given enthalpies of reactants and products, then you should know the enthalpy is equal to enthalpy of formation of products minus enthalpy of dissociation of reactants. That one is more accurate than this one. Bond energies. Bond energies have a little bit, are not so accurate. They are not so accurate, but our answer comes out as -486, which is A. Okay, 486, which is A. And remember, I'm multiplying by 2 here because there's a 2 there, and these are actually 4 bonds, or not really 4, but let me say, where is that? So no, I'm confusing things. So this is the enthalpy for water. Is it water? No, these are reactants, bonds broken. So 436, there are 2 molecules of hydrogen, so there are 2 bonds. That's why I'm multiplying by 2 here. This is 1 bond of oxygen, 1 double bond of oxygen, because there's only 1 more of oxygen there. And then we have 4. This is the 4 multiplied by the 4 bonds, the 4 oxygen hydrogen bonds, giving me 1856. So remember to know how to count molecules and the number of bonds in a given molecule. Number 20, 2 experiments between zinc and sulfuric acid were carried out as follows. You can read those values there. I was trying to just calculate for moles. The moles are same, but the volumes are different. This volume is smaller, okay? Which of the following graphs represents the volume of hydrogen gas collected at various time intervals of the 2 experiments? My answer here is A. For experiment 2, the volume will be the same as experiment 1, but the volume in the experiment for 2 will be faster because of the concentrations. Smaller volume, then you place this much zinc, therefore the reaction will be quicker. Experiment 1 will reach its maximum volume a little bit late because of the difference in concentration. Okay. Number 21, which of the following changes ABCD is the increase in oxidation state? Is the increase in the oxidation state of sulfur greatest? I went for C, okay, because here it went to +6, and even here it's +6, so here it's not really that much of a thingy, but I went for what? For C. Okay, you can simply check that one a little bit further, but in my analysis I landed on C. 22, the reaction below shows the product of ammonia in the Haber process. Okay, it's already negative, meaning it's exothermic. Okay, exothermic at equilibrium. So note that I'm saying it's at equilibrium because the arrow is the forward rate and the backward rate, or forward arrow and backward arrow are of the same length or magnitude. So the reaction is at equilibrium. If one of them was short, then the longer one will be the one dominant. Which entry in the table below is correct at equilibrium? Therefore, my answer is B. Increase in temperature, effect, more hydrogen produced. Therefore, the backward reaction will be more because the process is already exothermic, so it doesn't need you to increase too much temperature. You're going to promote the reverse, okay? Increase of a catalyst. The catalyst doesn't affect the equilibrium, okay? It just increases both rates, forward and backwards. It doesn't affect the position of equilibrium. 23, citric acid reacts with an alkaline barium hydroxide, forming barium citrate solution water. Solution, keyword solution. The word equation for the equation which represents the ionic equation for this reaction is C. Hydrogen ion plus hydroxide ion gives you water. You don't ionize anything that is not in aqueous. So water is a liquid, so you leave it there. So when you ionize everything, then you cancel out spectator ions, you find that your equation will remain with C. 24. Which of the following salts can be prepared by reaction of an insoluble base and a dilute acid? My answer is zinc chloride. All sorts of ammonium, potassium, and sodium are soluble. So insoluble base, okay. Which of the following salts can be prepared by reaction of an insoluble base and a dilute acid? A dilute acid, zinc would be the salt there, I feel. Okay, so I move on. Before I move on, maybe I emphasize again the bases from these guys. Maybe, yeah, it's zinc. Check out your notes because so we don't spend so much time here. Number 25 is an acidic. Dash is a diabasic acid. Okay, it's a diabasic acid. My camera has a problem with focusing. Damn, I'm using a very small camera. We improve, people. We will improve. It's all about pen and paper. If you're able to see something, yeah, you are seeing. So for now, let's stick to this small camera. Diabasic. My answer there is B. This comes from the classifying acids according to their basicity, or what is sometimes referred to as the proton number. Therefore, this one can produce or can furnish 2 protons. This one can only furnish 1 monobasic. This one monobasic, diabasic. This is a salt, an acidic salt. Okay, but it can still furnish this, but it's not an acid. It's an acidic salt. The answer there is B. 26. Why does a freshly cut piece of apple quickly turn red-brown in color? The apple fruit contains iron 2 ions which are oxidized to iron 3, not atoms. Okay, calcium, these form white salts and the like. Zinc, no, it's C. My answer is C, but you can still prove this one. My answer drove me to C. 27. The elements are represented by the letters RTSU are arranged in consecutive order of their increasing atomic numbers, and T is a noble gas. Which of the noble gases below cannot be T? Helium. Helium is element number 2 on the periodic table, so it cannot have it cannot have 2 elements in front of it. It's number 2. The first one is hydrogen, so it cannot have 2 before it. So my answer here is B, helium. And did you know that helium was discovered on the sun, and hence it's called helium, which means Helios, the sun. 28. The properties of group 2 elements change down the group from magnesium to barium. Which of the statements below is correct? The thermostability of nitrates increases because as you go down the group of metals, reactivity increases, so does the stability of compounds that are formed by those elements or those metals. That is why the most reactive metal is cesium. Okay, but among the first 20, it's actually sodium. It's sodium or potassium? Should be potassium, right? So the answer there is A. 29. Which of the following best explains why zinc should not have been placed among the transition elements on the periodic table? The D block elements. My answer is D. Has a fixed valency. Okay, zinc has a valency of 2. Has a valency of 2, so it doesn't. Its valency doesn't transit. Doesn't it doesn't. It's not multiple. D. That's my answer. The best method of preventing iron from rusting is sacrificial protection. Okay, sacrificial protection, where you attach zinc blocks to the ship so that the zinc is the one that gets corroded, not the iron. 31. The alloy used for cutlery. Okay, the alloy used for cutlery is stainless steel. Okay, you don't need spoons that are rusty, eating from rusty spoons like Adam's family. No. Number 2, 32. Which of the following is an ore of zinc? Siderite. Okay, siderite. I know zinc blend, but when I analyze this one, calamine, that is for lead, malachite, that is copper, bauxite, that is aluminium. So I just concluded to say it is siderite. This should be a minor ore. Zinc blend, which is zinc sulfide, is more prominent. D is our answer there. The following diagram shows a demonstration of an identity of gas Z. Gas Z, white thick fumes, concentrated ammonia solution. Gas Z is actually hydrogen chloride, and the white fumes are ammonium chloride. Shift the camera. My answer there is C, hydrogen chloride. Ammonium chloride is the answer, not ammonia but ammonium. 34. Water supply can be purified by filtration and chlorination. Which substances remains in water supply after these processes? Mineral salts remain. C. Number 35. A structure of silicon is shown as follows. That's silicon. Okay. This is now we are heading towards organic chemistry. Silicons are used among other things to make artificial hearts and even implants for those people who want to change the shapes and all that. Which property do silicons possess for them to be used in this way? They are innate. They don't react with our bodies in any way. They are innate. Okay, not heat resistance, not hard, not slippery, but innate is the perfect one, especially with the artificial thing that they have highlighted there. 36. Which of the following substances can react to sodium carbonate, potassium hydroxide, and propanol? The first one is the best. The first one is the carbonate. The second one is the best. The third one is an alcohol. Acid, hydrochloric acid. I could have said ethanoic acid, but these acids are weak, and I say so because they ionize sparingly, so they might not really react effectively as expected. HCl, it's a must. HCl will perform. Okay, so I will get to the next question. The following structures represent different types of soaps. What statement about soap is correct? Soap is a salt. All those are acids, then there's a metal. Therefore, acid and the metal Isot is formed when the replaceable hydrogens or part of the replaceable hydrogens in an acid are replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. D is the answer. 38. This structure is for an organic compound. Which is the name of the linkage in this organic compound? Glycosidic. This is more like a chain of glucose. Ester is for lipids. Amide is for proteins, okay, and other synthetic polymers. Amine, that's a group, an amine group. The answer is a glycosidic bond or linkage. 39. Gas Q is an organic compound which decolorizes a solution of acidified potassium manganate 7. Which homologous series does gas Q belong to? Alkenes. I went for alkenes. Okay, alkenes. 13. C. We can simply check that one out. That's one out, but I went for alkenes. Question 40, our last question there. The following structures represent organic compounds. Which of these structures represent the same compound? 1 and 4. 4 is just bended, but that doesn't mean it's different from 4. Organic molecules are long, they are giants, and they can bend, they can get entangled into each other. That's why they are oily, like wax, petroleum jelly, and grease, cooking oil. They are oily because they are long and they entangle into each other and the like. So my answer there is D. This marks the end of this paper. I'll call it quits for now. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe and share with anyone who might want to revise on these things. Bye bye for now.